What is going on, everyone? Hopefully this worked. I'm by myself today, so a little slow on the technicals. Let's see if we're on. I'm running into all kinds of little issues here. Good morning, everyone. It is, what day is it? Friday for sure. And what date is it? It's the 25th, October 25th, 6 days from Halloween, about 10 days from an election. I voted, by the way. My man right here, he's a future voter. He will be voting for conservatives, by the way. So I'm going to buy a bunch of statues to offset all the illegals that are being pulled in here to vote. I'll have a bunch of guys like this waiting at the public station for voting. Clearly, my humor is not that good this morning. I have not had enough coffee. Guys, we're going to talk about the markets today. A lot has been going on in Bitcoin. We have a beautiful chart set up right here. Not that I'm a chartist, but whoa, I love what I'm seeing. I absolutely love what I'm seeing. Bitcoin's right now at 67 and change. I love that it's been able to sit here this long and allow people like myself to buy it over and over and over again. One of the great benefits to Bitcoin, in my opinion, is its volatility, and that almost every month I can buy it at a 10, 15, 20% discount. Unbelievable. So guys, let's do this. This beautiful chart here. Let's go ahead and go through a few of the charts. Bunny says, by the way, thank you all for being here. Wade, Dante 939, Charlie Bronson, Pibaswamy. Thank you, sir. Glad you're here again. Just realized that I'm competing with Chris Inks. Guys, if you guys want to watch Chris and watch somebody that actually knows short-term charts and long-term charts, go flip over to Chris. I had no idea we were in conflict. I try to do these shows so it doesn't mess other journalists, whatever we're calling ourselves today, to keep people informed, educators maybe. I'm definitely not an influencer, but happy to be an educator. I'll influence you to, I will attempt to influence you to save well, be a good human being, invest what you save. Don't confuse savings with storing dollars away in a bank account. It's going to take some activity, and surround yourself with awesome people. That's what I will attempt to influence you if you ever come to these shows. Don't even like calling them a show, but I guess it is a show. And the more entertaining and the funner it can be, perhaps we can all together fix the horrific education system that we live in around the world today, in particular in the United States. So anyway, we got this beautiful chart here. Let me go pop up a couple of things in particular I'm looking for or looking at. We hit 68.7 today. Big volume bounce down. We're at 67.6. This is normal. If you guys think that things go straight up like a rocket, remember that's just not real. There, every now and then you'll get a win like that. But I love how this is getting structured. By the way, while we're on Bitcoin, let's just play this. Can you guys all see this? Because no, you cannot. I want to show this, and can you guys see this? Yes, you can see it. Okay, I'm starting to get set up here. Figuring out I'm having to do all this myself because I know what I like. Anyway, check this out, okay? Repost the space, retweet it, subscribe, like, do all the things that you got to do on the algorithm, please, to support the channel so that our community can get bigger. not so much about me. It's about us getting like all the intel, all the power, all around us. We don't have to be tribal. We can win this game, dude. You and I are not the enemy. It's all those freaks out there that want control. Check this out, though. Okay, we are winning this game, and this is proof certain.
Look, the question is that the value of Bitcoins can never be negative. And so there's only one thing it could be. It's either 0 or plus. And the way human beings estimate value, you're going to get a number of people always consider it a plus. And if you happen to be Bitcoin and get into early on, you create a huge potential market. But it's not an accident that virtually all of these cryptocurrencies that have some semblance of control with them, and the mathematics are correct, are doing reasonably well.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube.
I mean,
be sure to
seriously?
subscribe to stay up to date on all of the biggest stories.
Okay.
You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the
now
latest
what?
from CNBC.
How can I get
Thanks
this
for
lady
watching.
to shut up? Seriously, okay? This is Alan Greenspan. Okay, no one predicted this.
When you walk into a teacher,
no one predicted this. Okay, not a human being on the planet predicted that Alan Greenspan would be talking about Bitcoin in this method. Like it's absolutely staggering. Not one of you would have predicted this. Not the smartest of the smartest. We have so many things that are going on well for Bitcoin. It's absolutely staggering. It's staggering. So let's just discuss, or let's go over some of the news. Made a few little comments, or not comments, but I've made attempted to make some summary notes, so I'm not just flipping off like I normally do off the top of my head. We've had Bitcoin fluctuations and ETF inflows, slight pullback from 70,000. ETF inflows are a most certainly a major factor. I think Bitcoin Trust ETF, I think the iShares, BlackRock has bought, I think if I did the math right, $323 million. The options, we have $4.2 billion worth of options set to expire. Could lead to swings in price. I think the ratio is like $72,000. I think there's $4 or $5 billion worth of squeezes that occur, short squeezes. That would be exciting. 72 would be a really interesting price. Well, we will all watch it together when it gets there. Of course, we've got the halving that took place in April. The miners continue to show traction in the space. We're going to get to that here in a second. We'll look at some of those charts. Whale accumulation continues to occur. I'm thinking about having a show on Wednesdays called Wednesday Whales, something like that, something stupid, right? And have guys that are, large stack players come to the show. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that would be cool? Do a show on just with, monsters. I like that idea. What other news do we have? Let's see here. Oil's doing nothing, as I continue to believe oil will do nothing. What war in Israel, war in Palestine, war in Iran, Iraq, I don't really care. Yeah, I invited Jason Williams, guys, to this show today. I got kind of stuck by myself, so anybody that wants to come up, and but I invited 2 or 3 people. I think somebody's going to pop in here. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about right here? This is what I wanted. Probably don't have you guys on this though. Here we go. Abbott, knock it off, dude. Okay, here we go. This is better. Silver 33.75. We're going to go test 34 again. Gold's all-time high. Well, slightly off of it. Tesla has been just smoking. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to ever get on the Tesla train. I've never been on it. I probably will never own a Tesla just because I'm not an electric guy. But I literally looked at us like below 200, man. And that was the 7th of August, 3 months ago. And we're here today. And so 269. We're probably all underestimating Tesla. He's got so much data, you know. I mean, so much absolute, unbelievable, years and years of data. NASDAQ's flattish, one down 1%. S&P's smoking. I think there's nowhere else to go with the money. I think that's the issue. Again, Bitcoin's up on decent volume, got sold into decent volume. Let's go look at the alts. Ethereum's. Let's move on. Look at this bad dog, okay? I mean, look, guys, if you're going to invest in Ethereum, you have to start looking then. If you're going to go outside of Bitcoin, I don't know why you wouldn't look at companies like this. Companies like this. These are public companies, okay? They're going to have more scrutiny. I'm not saying that public companies can't screw with the data, but and I'm not suggesting Marathon is something that you want to match up. I personally like Solana. Don't like Solana for like massive positions, okay? But I think it's going to have some role, at least for a year or two. And then we will see. Remember AOL? Nobody's used the word AOL in a long time. Remember MySpace? You remember Hewlett Packard? Yeah, well, their history. IBM, Intel struggling like you read about. So there's a lot of players that came to the market early, had a stock event, ran up, and have never seen those run up since then. I own some of this. I own some of this. They're doing pretty well. I actually own some of this. I mean, like not much, like $7,000 worth. This is a punt for me, a total punt. I wouldn't encourage anyone to do this. It's a different way of looking at things, and it's tiny, 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 tiny. It's less than 0.1%. I own some of CleanSpark. They seem to be doing well. They just raised, let's see, is the news here on CleanSpark? Let's see if I can find. I think they doubled their ATM, correct? CleanSpark. I'm starting to use some of these AI things, and it's really interesting. CleanSpark's ATM raise. Let's see what happens. Yeah, October 24th. I think this just came out yesterday. I'm challenging ChatGPT-4. It's pretty crazy how I can mess with him. 3 days ago, I asked him to prepare a presentation. He's still trying to prepare. CleanSpark, prominent Bitcoin miner, 800 has an agreement, raise up 800 million in additional capital. Move effectively increases funding pool by 300 million from its original 500 million. Set up with H.C. Wainwright and Company in 24. They have aggressive plans. They're going to buy their stock back, which would affect shareholder value by approximately 19% based on current market cap. Despite the immediate market reaction, CleanSpark stock has been resilient. Look, you guys, you cannot blame these. I've met this team. They seem really well plugged in, very mature. You can't blame people for using these tools if they're going to be allowed to. So let's see. MJ, thank you very much for being here. Yeah, I think this is fascinating. What MJ is talking about is a board resolution that's happening or did happen. Yeah, on December the 10th, it's happening. And they're going to the board. Let's see if I can find this article because it's really fascinating. They're going to their board and asking, hey, should we consider putting Bitcoin on our balance sheet? That is really, I don't really care if they do or not. What's interesting to me is that they're even considering it and that it's come out in the public market. This is a big, big deal. I mean, a big deal. Okay. Like we're getting so many. Hey, Bobby. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We're getting so much intel that used to require you being on the inside, leading the IPO, running the IPO, or being an insider in the management team to get this type of intel. But they've set a vote for December the 24th on a proposal to assess adding Bitcoin to the company's balance sheet. This decision comes amid a broader trend with companies, MicroStrategy, Tesla, incorporating Bitcoin into their balance sheet as a hedge against inflation. Microsoft board currently supposedly opposes this move, suggesting that the management has already evaluated Bitcoin's potential and deems it an unnecessary addition to the tech giant's treasury strategy at this time. This vote reflects increasing interest in Bitcoin within corporate finance circles. You cannot dismiss this. Okay, you cannot dismiss this. It's ridiculous not to. Thank you so much. It's ridiculous not to consider this as a massive canary in the coal mine. And if Microsoft, this is the fourth largest company in the world. Okay, public company. This isn't a sovereign. Now think with this. Think with. Well, this is how I think, and I would encourage you to think with it. If Microsoft's board, let's go think about who is on Microsoft's board. The Microsoft board is going to be made up of some of the largest players in the world. Okay, I mean, so start drawing some conclusions, right? Like when I see a snippet of data like this, and then I put it together with another snippet of data like MicroStrategy and what they're saying. And then I put another one together. Oh, BNY Mellon's going to custody, and Franklin Templeton, who, by the way, I love Franklin Templeton. I think the CEO, I don't know how to get a hold of her, but I would love to have a conversation with her. So if anyone knows the CEO of Franklin Templeton, I would really, really appreciate an introduction because I'd like to do a sit down with her. I think it's one of the most interesting companies. They've been in the closet. They haven't been advertising anything. And I'm just very impressed with their methodical manner approaching this. Let's go to the board directors who are considering Bitcoin. So if you have never been on a board, every 3 months or so, they'll start writing papers to each other. And those papers will lead to suggestions on strategy and things to do. And they then take a vote on certain deals. Hey, I want to buy Axiom. I want to buy this company. And they proceed to take a vote. This is the board members. Reid Hoffman, Greylock Partners. Reid Hoffman is Netflix, I believe. Brad Smith, Vice Chair and President of Microsoft. Hugh Johnson, CFO of PepsiCo. And other leaders from Citi, Wells Fargo, GSK, each bringing experience in overseeing finance and risk. Now, Citi is extremely involved in MicroStrategy's treasury strategy. These are some of the biggest players in the world. I'm sure that board's bigger than that. and maybe I'm just missing the information, but I think you get my point. It would be very difficult for me to believe that other corporates haven't reviewed this. Okay. And in addition to what Charlie's saying right here, thank you, Charlie. See, this is the way you guys could help me, is smash me with information. We all put it back up together. Hard for me to, I mean, I'll figure out how to do all this much better. Maybe I need an assistant. I probably need an analyst that's just pulling up data and can run some of the day, just the day-to-day stuff. But see, BlackRock is the second biggest shareholder, right? So they're all talking. BlackRock's in the Bitcoin now. Citi's in the Bitcoin. Franklin Templeton, BNY Mellon, Citi's doing crazy deals. Not crazy bad, but I mean, like, they're in it. Who else is here? Fidelity's been here 13 years. We have the ETFs. That means every pension on the planet's buying this stuff. Did you see the news? Now check some news out. Dennis Porter, you're an animal, dude. Love you. His best $50,000. See, they're saying BlackRock owns 8% of Microsoft. You don't think they've had some sit downs on Bitcoin? Come on, man. Chip man, love this, dude. Slowly then suddenly. People underestimate how long it takes to break a market wide open. Always, all of you guys underestimated how long this was going to take, and then you underestimate the impact it's going to make. The impact that Bitcoin's going to make on this planet is it will fill every crack. I am so convinced. Now, the time period's the issue. I was with a friend of mine, Rob Massey, with Deloitte, and he made a comment to me. He said, we handle, I think Deloitte handles millions of customers. And he said, not all of our customers are into Bitcoin. In fact, few are. But 100% of our customers will be impacted by Bitcoin. That was a staggering statement. Every one of our customers, whether they choose to be in Bitcoin or not, will be impacted by Bitcoin. I thought that was absolute brilliant, should be in quotations, and give Rob Massey from Deloitte. If you have a complex portfolio, or if you have a large portfolio, legacy portfolio, and you have some digital assets in there, contact me or contact Rob Massey. They're putting a whole team of people together to handle guys just like you. Mike Mack says, when the bull starts, will there be actual start date and we'll know it's begun, or will we look back and point to it? My answer to you, Mike, and welcome. Thank you very much for being here, my friend. Mike does a show on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I think, on X, and goes live. Y'all should follow him. He's a cool cat, does a lot of stuff on politics, Americanism, freedom. What if I told you that we should already be looking back, and that the bull market started already? Bull markets, like, I don't know what we're waiting for. What bull market are we waiting for to take Bitcoin from, I think in August it was much cheaper. And let's go see here. Let me go. I've looked at these charts so few times. Let me review them again. I'm going to go on maybe a 1 year chart, and I am sharing this chart, correct? So I don't know, man. Gosh, I guess that's not a big enough run for me. That's like, I just don't know what else I need. Okay, this is 1 year ago. 1 year ago, literally 1 year ago in 4 days, 35,000, and now we're at 67.6, Mike. So I don't know. I guess I should have shown you what I was looking at, right? That looks beautiful to me, man. The problem is I don't have the right time frame. But if you look at this time frame, I mean, that looks pretty good to me, right? September of last year, October of last year, I could have picked up Bitcoin at 23. Um, off of the 16s, by the way, off of that floor over here in the summer. And but let's just go from 1 year ago. I've made a triple? I've made a 300% return, and I'm still asking for where's the bull run? Am I going to know that it takes off? Now, this, I'll tell you something. This right here has really concerned me. This downward, like this started popping up, okay, in March, and everybody now, like about this month, I started looking at this going, this is going down, man. The highs are getting lower and the lows are getting lower. Okay, that is not a good trend. That is a downward trend. But what's it done? Mike, I think this is to your question. Okay, see how I tried to break these and it didn't work? Well, we broke this. We broke this one day, boom, next day. These are 1 day candles. Now, again, I'm not a chartist. I'm not pretending to be a good chartist. You guys can laugh at me how I drew my lines. But pictorially, without me understanding what a dojo is, I can see that this right here has popped. Okay. And then it went and tested this line again. Now, this line may not be drawn perfectly. Okay. But it's close enough for old gear. And my small little assessment, my little allocation of Bitcoin, but I like this. Okay. This thing doesn't break this thing and start going into this downward pattern. We're gold, man. Love any chartist to let me know if that's not correct, but I think we're gold. Goldfinger. So, Mike, what do you think, man? Is that a good enough explanation, or do you need more details? That's about all I need. But I look at things really simply. Now, anyway, I'm very excited, as you can tell, as to where we are. Let's see, today. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's tonight, right? Matrix. Thanks for being here, Matrix. Let's see. We got Benjamin Hoddle leaving a cryptic note of 25,000. I think that's what he means is we're going to see a $25,000 candle. That would be funny. 33% a day. Mike Max says, awesome. I'll send you the bill, bro. No problem. Hey, by the way, Mike, while we're looking at that, let me go look at one of your favorite. Now, Mike Max in the money on this, so you guys don't make too much fun of him. There's Mike's. Mike's some allocation of Mike's. Mike has some allocation to this ship, and I've been really surprised at how many people are into XRP. And when you are, you guys are like, really, really into it. I mean, just look at this chart. Okay. I'm not trying to irritate anybody or be right or wrong, but I look at this chart. For anyone that's an investor, if you're a 32-year-old woman with a kid and you're in XRP and that community has convinced you that it's going to work, and maybe it will, but do you want that chart or do you want this chart? It's just very different. Okay. In fact, if you're comparing charts, the chart you wanted, I mean, let's just be, hey, money is money. And I'm not like going to get married to Bitcoin just because it's, but that's a chart. Okay. This is a beast right here. This is 1 year. Mike, see, this is the point, Mike. Because I like to look at my mistakes. I look at something that went from 22 to 143 in a year, 5x. I can't have something going slow down the road if I had the opportunity to jump onto a rocket ride. I mean, it's probably be the chart of the 10-year cycle, really. That's unbelievable. Want to hear something scary? I sold this around right here, I would think. That's where they did a 10-for-1 split. I sold this about right here to buy Bitcoin. I got margin called on Bitcoin because I bought it too early. That's the truth. I bought a bunch of stuff a little too early. But I wasn't massively early. It's 2020. It was Sailor. It was the Sailor investment period where you could be up above the average and you could be below the average. My average is 40,000, some change. I've told people that you should know your average. And my average, I expect my average to go up. In fact, I hope that in 1 year I have doubled my stack and that my average is 60, not 40. I actually believe that that would be so cool if I have the opportunity to double my stack and bring my weighted average costs up from 40-ish to 60. And if you guys ever want to talk about why I would want to do that, let me know in the comments, because I think most people make mistakes when they're trading a position that's doing really well. They stop adding. I've never understood that. You got to trade that's working, and then you stop adding to it. Thorough, my friend, says BTC is half over for this cycle, and XRP has not moved yet. And the rocket ride, I agree, Mike. My rocket ride isn't see it. I agree, man. One way or the other. Oh, you can see my screen now, right? If I screw up or something, if I fuck up, y'all just scream at me, let me know. Dude, totally, Wade. See, Wade, this is an interesting question now. Can you guys retweet the space? There's only 800 people in here. I don't know why that would be, but maybe it's because somebody else is running a show. No, we can't see it. Yeah, no, because it's just on me. It's just on me right now. Was I showing anything worth showing? Oh, is this MicroStrategy? Yes. Sorry, guys. That's the wrong. You guys are just going to have to put up with me. If y'all can do this better than me, start up a show. I mean, look at NVIDIA. Okay, this is life-changing money. Don't want to miss these. Really is a tremendous opportunity if you are focused. The next 5 years is going to offer investments like this. Hey, there are some other MicroStrategies out there, okay? MicroStrategy is probably moving because of Microsoft. It's probably hitting Wall Street. Whoa. In fact, they've already been hit with it because they've been probably sitting in meetings talking about this for some time. When you hear the guys at Bloomberg, the Dennis Porters of the world that are inside some of these conversations, having done this for a long time, I'm telling you, there has never been a time when Joe Schmo, 830 people in here, that can listen to some of these people. Now, they're not going to give you intel, like insider information, but I think you should listen to some of the nuance in their messaging. There is a lot of insider information that if you listen to these people, they're very professional and I'm not suggesting they're exposing any private data. But when you hear two guys from Bloomberg, then you hear one guy over here and another guy over here, you can bring all these pieces together and go, hey, Wall Street's getting ready to walk into this thing and consume monster volumes of crypto, digital assets, any part of the value chain they've never been in before. They're all coming here. I predict two things. One, this Microsoft thing is bigger than people understand. That's what's really supercharging Bitcoin MicroStrategy. Two, we will have sovereigns putting Bitcoin on its balance sheet in the next 9 months. We'll hear about it. I think they're already doing it, and we will hear validation and confirmation that sovereigns larger than El Salvador, and possibly as large as the United States of America, will put Bitcoin on its balance sheet. That is a game changer, okay? And no one ever whoever that's been in Bitcoin would have predicted that could possibly happen in 2025. No one. No one. not even Satoshi. Okay, this is accelerating much, much, much faster than I would have thought. No, sir. No, sir. And that should have been very clear when we had the discussion. See, if I can get convinced of something, I'll meet with anyone, by the way. I took a lot of flack for meeting on that. I'll meet with Vitalik Buterin or whatever his name is. If he wants to come over, I invite him, and I own some Ethereum. Happy to have Vitalik on the show, and tell me why he's worth $300 billion. 300. The company's worth $300 billion. I don't personally get it, but like, he's wealthier than I am, so I'm really, really happy to have a conversation with him, and maybe he can talk me off the ledge. The Jason didn't. I like Jason. He's a nice guy. Look, I'm not tribal, okay? Like I grew up being Catholic, and when I started first hearing the news that there were some naughty boys in senior management and in Catholicism, I walked away from it. I'm not going to participate with that bullshit. If Bitcoin were to get toxic or problematic, or there's something better than Bitcoin, I'm all over it, man. I'm going to look for it. I believe innovation always continues, and that if you don't continue to innovate, you will fall behind. People are going to look at Bitcoin and shoot at every little problem it has, and that's exactly what you should do. I don't think that Cardano nor Ethereum have actually approached the problem correctly, or not created a solution that's timely enough to make the impact that Bitcoin's going to make. But I love all these coins being out here. Okay, there's real value for all these coins being out here. The downside is it's diluting Bitcoin's valuation, but in fact, that's awesome for me because I'm buying Bitcoin. Secondly, I love it that there'll be 1,000 fintechs, wannabe banks, pretend to be banks, pretend to be financial institutions, vendors, all in the entire payment stream. They're going to waste months and months and months, if not years, of money, time, and energy on behalf of their staff chasing these fucking Ponzi schemes. Because the traditional finance world doesn't actually know what it wants here. This is the piece that everyone's missing. They actually do not know what they want or need, and they don't know what their customers want or need. And it's actually bigger and more problematic than that, because I don't think most financial institutions today actually know what their core business is. Like Barclays, if you go to Barclays, and I'm not smashing anyone, okay? This is a legacy issue, a traditional issue. When you have 50 years, man, that family has lost its north. It's if you go to Barclays and you listen to their presentations, they'll tell you they're a 420-year-old bank. And to me, that's a horrible lead for an introduction in a world that is being disrupted by the second. It's not an accolade that you've been around forever. It means you're near dinosaur, to me. So get Barclays to explain to you in 3 sentences exactly what their core business is. The future is going to be focus, core, drive, extreme value into all these holes, into all these inefficiencies, and you're gonna have a role in the market, a serious role in the market. I do not believe companies the size of Barclays, Fiserv, FIS, Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, WorldPay, all of these firms, they're bloated beyond. They're not only bloated, their products are bloated. The products actually create more problems than they solve. And they were all built around this whole fraud thing that the governments, multiple governments and multiple agencies created distinct rule sets like AML, KYC, all of this. Suppose, hey, take protect the consumer. All this was added, has created no value to the consumer, has not reduced fraud by 1 second. Not $1 of fraud has actually been reduced, but the fees and the cost to run payments has gone up astronomically. Some of these firms have spent, I think there's been $5 or $6 billion in 4 years spent on fraud solutions. That fraud has exploded beyond the online commerce. So either these companies are buying and building companies, paying billions of dollars for them to either get them off the market and remove them, or they're buying companies that don't work, because fraud has accelerated well beyond any investments they've made. And I'm just going to cut to the chase here, okay? Both the government and the vendors across the entire value chain, I think the government's probably just stupid, but all these companies have turned fraud and friction into income streams. So here's another problem. If you're making $3 billion a year net income, Visa, from fraud, fees, fines, a little bit, penalties, because you run all the highways, if you're benefiting $3 billion, and I don't know that, by the way, it's kind of odd to me that you can't go into these companies and literally drill down into their fraud P&L and go, how much money did Visa make from fraud? Because if you can start you can't find that number. Go find that number and let me know. Once it's in the billions of dollars, I'm going to suggest that it's become a business. It's no longer you're trying to actually help the system. You're actually benefiting from the parasitic nature of the system, and the plumbing for payments is so bad, it's unbelievable. And that is the reason that we will win this game, because they are so conflicted. They will have to eat their arms off billions of dollars of fees to participate in this new world, and they're not going to do that. The other thing is, none of these people are that consistent. So these people roll management teams over every 3 or 4 years. You're always dealing with an amateur. Okay, so you entrepreneurs that are building businesses out there, especially you guys that are going into monster spaces. Okay, I love monster spaces because, quite frankly, it's safer. You guys go into a 7-Eleven and try to build a business in a franchise, and you got everybody and their brother's a competitor. Everybody. There's no barrier to entry. I go into multi-trillion-dollar industries, I kind of get lost. Like, nobody sees me. I'm just poking around. I had a guy at British Gas once say, hey, Gary, do you, how much money do you think you're going to make from this endeavor? I said, $1 million, clear $1 million a year. He's like, yeah, see, it's not even worth it to us. They had made 3 billion pounds the year before, this company. And what he didn't understand, because he was arrogant, really, he was arrogant. He wasn't listening. What he didn't realize was, first off, I'm probably not giving him the real number. Nor did I give my management team the real number. I was like, dude, I can make $1 million. Well, I thought I could make 10 million. Now, what the other guy didn't figure out, though, was, one, I'm probably underestimating what I can make. I'm definitely not going to stick a target on my head and go, hey, I'm going to make $40 million right under your eyeballs. I probably didn't want him to think that there was that much money in the deal. But what if it's 10 million and 10 or 15 of us are doing it? Now, how do you feel about losing 150 million a year? Okay. At some point, man, we will all jump in these boats and start taking fat off these cats. They won't even know it. And that's why I love participating in really big markets. I can go make $1 million, $2 million, $3 million profit. Hardly anyone knows I'm coming. They're not threatened by me. They actually will cooperate and work with me. It's a tremendous benefit. Everybody looks at this and goes, I'm the little guy. Like, why don't you figure out how to, because you're not going to be the big guy. See, I was never going to be the monopoly guy. I'm not getting invited to the table. But if you're a little guy, quit bitching about it and figure out what advantage to being a little guy is there. Oh, when I do these topics, I get off topic. Let's see. This is a painting. You're talking about this one right here? Yeah, I guess you guys are going to get me into my painting. I'll show you that painting. That painting, I actually love this painting. I did this a long time ago. Oh, well, not too long ago. I don't know why I like it so much, but for me, it's an extreme violent. Most all of this art is done around really my life. And this is how this is actually a really good representation of the way my life is in business. And so thank you very much, Thora. It's not, I probably should frame it, but I would never, you could offer me $1 million for this painting and I wouldn't sell it to you because it means something to me in a way that there's something that's just really, I don't know. And when I look at it in the background, because I've never seen this view, I don't know. I just think it does need a frame around those white clickers look awesome with it, doesn't it? But you can see I like really explosive colors and very contrasting. But this is really violent disruption is the way I see it. So anyway, thank you very much. Let's see, where else are we? Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. Bobby's so wonderful. Bobby always brings me one of these so I can keep some protein in my body. What else do we have, guys? We got 1,000 people in the room. If you guys could repost the space, start thinking about what you're going to do for somebody this weekend, because you know what the end of my little space is going to be. It's going to be telling you to go do something nice for somebody. Why don't you guys smash some comments in? Let's do a little Q&A if we can. I had a few other things I wanted to discuss today. That's probably driving everyone crazy that I'm doing that. What else is happening in the world? Greenspan. What else do we have? We have, I thought I had a lot more news in this. Pennsylvania passed, here you go. Let's just go see. Pennsylvania passed they're taking it to the Senate, I think, but they passed a ruling on self-custody. Dude, that's big. Okay. Like if you guys aren't helping Porter or another lobbyist of some type, I like Porter because one, I can get a hold of him. Two, he's getting bills passed. Dennis Porter at the Satoshi Action Fund. You guys, I know it's not easy to give money to people, okay? I really do know that. And I've known 1 million of these people. I gave 50 grand to this guy. He ended up raising 120. 120 grand will take this guy probably out 15 or 20 trips to see political people. Ask him how many hours he's flying. Ask him and ask yourself, how many hotels are you willing to stay in a year? Ask him how many hotel rooms he stayed in. Okay, he came to Tampa to talk to me about a couple of projects and then was off to Europe. Okay, I mean, the guy is a hustler and he's getting shit done. So smash the guy $100, $10, $1,000. If you own Bitcoin, look at your Bitcoin and go, okay, I have $30,000 worth of Bitcoin. I'm going to send Dennis $30. Okay, it's part of your investment into making sure Bitcoin is safe. Okay, I cannot possibly be the only guy that does this. Write your senators, write your congressmen, write your local people, and tell them you want self-custody and that you don't want the government interfering any more than they already have with Bitcoin. So Dennis Porter, hats off to you, buddy. Satoshi Action Fund. $1, $10, $100, $50, and make sure your buddies do the same thing, man. Come on. Make sure your buddies are paying up, right? Like free ain't free. Free is not free. Okay. I keep telling you guys this. We've been renting it and not paying enough for it recently for the last 30, 40 years. Freedom is not free. It is going to cost us something sooner or later. Did someone summon me? I did not, my friend. Russia inflation is 21%. Are we sure that's true? Well, I'd like to see where that data is. I think that's probably near what our inflation rate is, by the way. Don't think it's any different. That's probably Mike, I'm not worried about Russia. I got to tell you, I think Russia is in a very good spot. Once we stop fucking with them, once we, that's your taxpayer dollars and my taxpayer dollars, stop fucking with them, intervening in something look, if you're Putin and you have, you've been in the Ukraine for 1,000 years, not one American can explain to me the relationship between Russia and the Ukraine. First off, so what are we doing there? Secondly, he is the leader of a major nation that has more energy and more resources than almost any country in the world. It has survived 1,000 years. Okay, the hubris of America is just staggering. They have their own country pride, and they should. I'm pretty sure a guy like that's going to have his own warm water port, man. Come on. You cannot hold off a warm water port from someone that basically it is his territory. Secondly, and more offensively, you cannot expect a guy to take it lying down that you're going to stick nukes within hundreds of miles of his sovereign territory. It is outrageous that NATO is pulling this bullshit. And once NATO falls apart, once we stop supporting this bullshit, all of Europe falls apart because it's being held together by glue from a Ponzi bullshit currency called the euro, where like there's 4 people running the entire continent of Europe, and no one can tell me what all 4 of their names are. No, they weren't elected. Okay, this is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. You guys in Europe are completely fucked. And I don't understand. You will not stand up for your rights. You're a bunch of snowflakes. So maybe they all took the shot and they're all just going apathetic. But like sooner or later, I am hoping people stand up and say, fuck off. I mean, the Italian prime minister is starting to make a move. She's like, hey, we can't take all these people. This is now illegal to come into our country. I think we're going to see more and more and more of that from sovereigns. They're going to break apart from NATO, and these 4 super rich, super pale white humanoids on a good day. They have no responsibility, no accountability. How the hell did you guys allow this to happen? And quite frankly, how they allowed it to happen? They allowed it to happen the same reason America is allowing it to happen, because we've gone apathetic, man. Everybody wants Dennis Porter to do the work, but we don't want to do the work, or we don't want to pay for it. We want to sit on Twitter and bitch about it. So I'm just going to punch real hard on this. When you have people out there that tip of the freaking spear, ask yourself, how do you feel about getting a bloody nose today after 12 hours of travel on an airplane? Or would you rather send Dennis Porter and other action takers $12? Okay, send them $12, man. In fact, get on a recurring program with the guy, $12 every month. And when he fails to deliver another bill, stop the subscription. Okay, this is awesome. You can impact the future of the world. Now, 3 years from now, when Bitcoin's in everywhere, you can say, you know what? I was responsible for making history, because I am most certainly going to have a role in this historical moment, and Dennis Porter will be written about. So, dude, like, you have the ability to help fuel massive, massive, massive change, and you can take credit for doing it. Otherwise, you're just a passive player taking advantage of the system, buying Bitcoin, never sharing any of the proceeds, never investing in the Bitcoin in the future. I hope you get rich. That's good, but we got to encourage a few people to give. So I'll stop with that. By the way, I just think it's good karma also. Yeah, see, anyone holding the consequences from some of these idiotic moves, VM. Okay, these political people and all the bad politicians, all of them are getting ready to show where they are on this subject. Self-custody, no, you can't do Bitcoin. Social media freedom, no, you can't have Twitter here. Okay, this is now, we are going to bifurcate and we're going to further polarize. We are coming to the moment of the fight. In my opinion, this freedom, this right to speak, as they did in England for 1,000 years on a public platform in the middle of the town square, they were allowed to get on a box and speak without interference. And we must do everything, including lose our ability to breathe, for the right to share information of any type and to receive information of any type that I choose to receive. Okay, I can turn things off, but I should not be required to go seek things that should be available in the free market. If someone wants to talk about whatever, and they attract a group of people that also want to talk about whatever, I believe it is their right to do so. And it is no man's right to interfere with that communication. It's going to be all recorded. Now, the value of that, if it's all going to be recorded and reported somewhere, if someone is breaking laws, use that data to then prosecute them for breaking said laws. But don't stop them first. Okay, you're not a prophylactic. Prohibition has never, ever worked. Zero statistical value of prohibition or embargoes or sanctions in the history of mankind never, ever worked. Prove me wrong, Mr. Economics, Mr. Philosopher, Mr. I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris, Mr. European Socialist. Come on the show and tell me in what case did attempting to constrain freedom ever work? Created a bunch of markets, and we're doing that right now. We're creating the BRICS market. We're going to create a digital market. We're going to probably create a South American market, an East Asian market. We're going to have so many markets because they're going to serve the needs of other people that the current system does not serve. And when all you Americans, if you Americans got frustrated about me talking about Ukraine, you're going to get frustrated about me saying the next thing, which is Americans must stop just reiterating all the propaganda that you're fed. Do some damn research, man. Seems to me like we are in the middle of poking everyone with a very antagonistic approach. Total command and conquer, demand every domain, even though you can't. You can't actually control it, which is so hilarious. If you guys were doing a good job, we probably wouldn't be bitching about it, but we are most certainly bitching now. We have a border that's literally bringing in thousands of people, if not tens of thousands of people a day. That for all you guys that think that's cool, don't lock your door tonight. Don't lock the front door of your home and post a sign in your yard and say, hey, no verification required. Open your door. Why don't you open your door, man? And let people just come on in. No limits. 12 people can come into your 1,200 square foot home. This is very similar to 8,000 people all flowing into, say, one little sector. What would that be? That'd be NW12 in London or SW42 in London. Okay. 8,000 people all going to that zip code. Dude, we have a problem in that zip code and everything around it. So don't feed me this bullshit of these, total stats. Oh, well, 8,000 people moved in. There's 8 million people there. It's 1%. Yeah, that's true. It's 1%. It's 1%, but the 1% isn't divided by the common denominator of 8 million. It's divided by that damn zip code they're all sitting in. And look, tribe. Okay, tribe. They don't separate and fracture. When the Italians, I'm Italian, Sicilian, when our families came to America, most certainly we organized. We got together, we ate our own food, we went to our religion, we had our own belief systems. The difference there, though, compared to here, we spoke the same language. We did not expect you to understand Sicilian. We did not expect you to understand our religious rights. We did not expect you, Americans, to make it easy for us. We actually had to assimilate and accommodate the world we were going into. That is most certainly not happening in this era of migration. By the way, my families all ended up getting legal. So we're comparing two different ages. And most certainly we're comparing, I think, two different serious motivations by whoever's running the show. A nice controlled immigration system, totally agree, man. Bring it. I would love to be able to import people from all over the world without a lot of hassle. But no control, nilly-willy. What we're doing right now, all we have to do is look at Europe or any time in the past, quite frankly. This is not going to work. And it's, in my opinion, designed to accelerate and magnify the polarization that this world seems to be in constant state of, just aggressive polarization. And therefore you can have anger, and then you have violence, and then you get martial law. And I think that's the end game. COVID 190 on steroids, or 19 on steroids, and we will claim martial law for the safety of the world. That's right. For you and your daughters, it's just too safe. It's just too scary to be out there. We have to manage everything for you. Thoreau, crypto, thanks. Who controls the food supply controls the people. He controls the energy, can control the whole continents. Who controls money controls the world. Dude, most certainly. I've always said he who has the most dense energy, irrespective of price, wins the game. But these three things, most certainly. Look, a country like South Africa is never going to control anything because they don't control their energy resource. Energy is energy allows everything to happen on scale. If you're not worried about scale, low energy. 40 some odd % of the world, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to share a fact with most people that 1,100 people, if that's really true, are here. This El Salvador point kind of made me got off my talk. This El Salvador thing, I don't think they're going to be the next superpower. Becker, I'm not trying to disagree. I think I agree with your premise, the general premise. Most certainly, people are now paying attention to what's going on in El Salvador. See, this is a very good example of how markets get into game theory right here. Small little country does this. You then have another country like Venezuela who didn't, and you can compare these two country pieces. It's hard to compare El Salvador to America, right? But you start comparing a third world nation like this and go, whoa, this guy's getting close to being able to do this to the IMF, man. Okay, they killed, raped, sodomized, and femmed the death. I think hanging. I don't know how they killed him, but they killed him of Hussein over wanting to move into the U.S. dollar. Okay, this cat is getting off the IMF. I mean, so it's a big deal what El Salvador's doing, and their timing was excellent. And as we see him dig his way out of being the bitch of all bitches in South America, this is going to send signals to a lot of small players, and they will get ripped to pieces because the sovereigns are now looking at this, large sovereigns. I would bet so much money that in the next 9 months, we will hear of countries far larger than El Salvador putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I have thought it was going to be the Middle East, and there's Chris Inks. I thought it would have been the Middle East and Turkey. Turkey seems perfect to put Bitcoin on its balance sheet because it's freaking piggy in the bloody middle of all kind of chaos, man. Stuck into NATO, not stuck into NATO. I mean, he's in a weird position. Chris, good to have you, buddy. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I am actually feeling pretty good, man. I had a really ridiculous headache yesterday and kind of suffered the day through that. So I'm feeling exceptionally good today.
It's awesome when you're feeling bad for like 4 or 5 days, and I'm like, oh man, I don't think I've ever felt this bad. And you're like, I'm such a loser. And then you feel better 2 days later, and you're like, wow, I could do anything, man. I can conquer the world.
And especially when it comes to the weekend, right? You don't want to feel bad on the weekends.
No. How's the market doing, buddy?
Man, I'm loving it.
Why don't you pop up a chart? Because this will be. I started with my little charts, and everybody can then laugh at me at how bad my chart work is compared to yours.
No, not
It's
at all.
terrible, dude. I'm not a chartist. I'm just not that guy.
Yeah. There we go. Get it.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah. So right now with Bitcoin, I'm kind of looking at the possibility we've got this triangle forming here. And this would probably form throughout the weekend. So we'd be looking for basically you get 3 waves down for wave A, 3 waves up for B, you get 3 waves down for C, 3 up for D, and 3 down for E. So you get this consolidating higher lows and lower highs. And if we can get that, then we look based on the height of this, it gives us a target of around 72,250. So up there near the all-time high. And so that doesn't mean we can't hit a new all-time high. So I've got 2 kind of ways we can look at this. Just kind of bring it up here. So we can actually just hit, kind of extension area and then pull back. Again, still looking for a potential pullback down here around that maybe 60 to 62,000 area without hitting the all-time high. Or we could see this potentially extend through the into a new all-time high, trap the breakout traders that have been waiting for months and months and months for it to happen, and trap them up there, come back down, and then encourage people to go short. That forces it down here toward this, again, 60, 62,000 area. And then we trap those traders as we send it back up, and we finally get the real breakout that gets us moving into the 80s, and heading up higher from that. So, again, initially the expectation would be the rally in toward that all-time high and a pullback without actually breaking out. But we could potentially see it actually hitting a little bit into a new all-time high, maybe $1,000 or a few $1,000s, and then kind of just trapping everybody, sourcing that liquidity to send it back down to source more liquidity, down there around that 60, maybe 62,000 area, and then get the big bump out. So that's kind of my main kind of way I'm looking at this right now for what we're going on. Nothing's really changed. Still looking at this as a leading diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Working on ABC would be 5. So ABC 1, 2, ABC 3, 4, ABC 5. To get that out there is the wave 1. Wave 2 is the pullback. And then pop it up there. But, again, there's no guarantees. We just kind of base things on, the way we understand things often work, the way the structure looks. And then we kind of, adjust if we have to along the way. Oh, can't hear you, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, before you came on, I'm so glad you showed this chart because I keep seeing this channel since about August, right? Maybe even April, and it's going down. Everybody's so bullish. I watch Scott Melker, I watch all these guys. Hey, bullish. I'm like, this doesn't look like it's really doing what it doesn't look like a rocket that's going up. But I'm a little, and maybe it's because my chart's wrong, but hasn't it broken out of it looked to me like it's just started to pop out of that channel now.
Yeah. So what we actually have here, we want to make sure that we pull it from the swing highs here. So a lot of people are pulling it from these first two here. And in that case, we got a lot of popping up through it. It looks like we've kind of come up through it and whatever.
Yeah. See, that's what mine looks like. Cause we tested it like right here. I'm not presenting, but right in the middle where you have your X.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
See,
right.
and then we blew out. Then we tested it again on B.
Yeah.
And this time it's held, man. It's held for 4 days.
So the way that we generally tend to draw our supports and resistances when we do it properly is we want to have it going between the swing highs and swing lows. So in this case,
how do you define swing high?
Well, so this is the swing high, right? It's the highest point here. And then what we did was we had this low and this high, and then we had this low, but then this high breaks out higher, right? So we have to go, well, this is the high, this is the low, this is the next lower high, this is the next lower low, this is the next lower high, and then this is the next lower low. Because again, if we pull this resistance here, let me see here. Let me get a hold of that. Where are we at? Come on now. Yeah. If we pull it off this one here, well, we don't have that support here, right? Where we just kind of drop here. So we're doing resistance to resistance, and we should go resistance to support to resistance back and forth. So that's why we kind of skip over that one, and we look at that wave X there as the actual resistance we want to look at. And then as you can see, we're kind of butted up against that right here. So I think it's a more realistic kind of way of looking at it. Just generally speaking.
Look, can you see
on there?
I don't know if another chart's popped up. You see this chart that I have?
Yes. Yeah.
Red and green. Yeah. And again, I'm an amateur on this. Okay. But you see here, like our charts are drawn similar. I mean, maybe my bottoms aren't exactly perfect, but it looks to me like, hey, we've lived here now. This is a daily chart, man. We've popped out of it. Even if I pop this up, I can't pop it up much more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, maybe this comes down, but just as a snapshot, right? It looks like we're most certainly this breakout above this blue line has lasted longer than it's ever lasted.
Yeah. Yeah. Another way, probably a better way for you to look at that is you see the previous swing high. Let me see here. Right before. No, I'm sorry. Right there before October.
Right here.
Yeah. Draw a horizontal line across from that.
Okay.
To where we are now. The swing low area there. No, I'm sorry. The other way. Yeah. And so what you're really having there, which I think is more important than that diagonal line, is you're getting a retest of that previous resistance as support. And so for me, as a technical analyst, that is much more important. That is a much more a stronger way of looking at than the diagonal line, because that horizontal line doesn't have we can draw it here, we can draw it there. That's a definitive. That was resistance. We broke out through it, came back and retested as support. And That's, yeah, I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah. See, I would say like if we hold 66.6 just based on this, we go north from here, man.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible. But the way that, so this is really a broadening kind of consolidation area. Price consolidates in two ways. It consolidates where it comes together, right? And then it consolidates where it expands. Both of them have the same result, right? In either one, neither supply or demand, the further out you get, is in control. That's why you either have the smaller consolidation or you have the larger consolidation, because neither one's really in control. This one's that broadening formation. And so what normally happens in these consolidation areas is that when it's ready to break out, most of the time, again, there's nothing's 100%, but most of the time you're going to get a rally up toward that kind of that swing high area. You're going to pull back, and then you're going to get the breakout. Occasionally, you will get a straight breakout. So I can't guarantee that won't happen. But I generally tend to take the position that we're going to get a rally up into that upper resistance, a pull back to source liquidity, and then get our big one, especially because in this case, it's been, 7-8 months that we've been sideways. So there's going to be a lot of kind of orders sitting up there at those swing high areas. So I think it may take more liquidity than we have at the moment to do that. So again, you get the rally up toward that resistance, pull back to source more buy side liquidity to take it up, not buy side liquidity, but sell side liquidity to take it up higher and kind of carry us through that. Because when we go, we should, with it being 7-8 months sideways, when we go, we should expect it to kind of continue to do it. So, one more reset before it seems to make sense. But again, obviously I can't guarantee that.
So you think you would like to see a test of 62.5 or so?
I would feel a lot stronger about the breakout if we got that. Like if we get the rejection, we start heading down there, I'm going to be salivating. I'm going to be looking for, I'm not going to catch a falling knife at 60, 62, but I'm going to be looking for a reason to go long around that area on a smaller time frame as we get there, especially if like the daily is oversold on RSI and stochastic RSI, something like that, to set it up. I would definitely be looking for a reason to go long around that area.
Now, Chris, everyone's talking about volatility, whack, 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 and I think it's a benefit, not a problem. Options are being approved on the ETFs. That's a big deal. I think it's a big deal.
Huge.
We have people who do not understand options in the market. They're like, okay, that's gonna really dampen price. Look, we have people buying, selling call options and $52,000 call options being called on. I'm like, whoa, wait. This is such a binary viewpoint of options. What about the miner? A year ago, the price was $32,000, and he bought a $32,000 put for 2024. And in order for him to buy a insurance policy to protect his mining below 32,000, so he's like, I'll never sell below 32,000. Think of options, people, as an insurance contract.
Yeah.
Here's my miner. My miner's the microphone. He's producing 4 Bitcoin a day. He just wants to know, I'm never going to produce less than 32 grand. Maybe that's his break even. He then goes to a bank and gets funding on that insurance policy. In exchange for that insurance policy, he sells Goldman Sachs, or a guy like me, a $52,000 call option for November delivery. Yeah. And then you get some whack job on Spaces saying 52 billion Bitcoin are showing up in the market. It's like, bro, that was sold a year ago.
Yeah.
It provided actually the miner to stay in business. These are not all, hey, it's going to drain liquidity. It's going to drain volatility. Options should bring so many more people, and it should help us do this, man, in a less violent way. Right?
Yeah.
It's going to dampen some of the noise.
Yeah, exactly. Because options, are another way. I mean, you can do it with futures, but options give you so many more opportunities in different ways to either arbitrage or, again, if you're a miner or a hedge fund or even somebody just holding, a lot of Bitcoin and you want to protect
Correct.
it against drops or whatever. I mean, it gives you just all this opportunity. Like you said, insurance. It's fantastic. It's going to bring a lot of liquidity into the markets overall. It's going to bring a lot more interest by people who aren't actually trading it right now.
Yeah, let's expound on that, right? Because there's people that are not like me, that like the risk. They can't do it. They're like, oh, if you tell me I can take part in this and manage my downside, oh, I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, exactly. There are so, I mean, we sit here and, we talk about Bitcoin all the time, right? Whether it's price or why it's a great thing, whatever. We're always talking about that online here. And so if you're, just Joe Schmo out there and you're spending enough time online, which we all are, unfortunately, probably too much. But in social media, it feels like, oh my God, everybody knows about Bitcoin. Everybody's rah about Bitcoin, other than the few couple of idiots, right? I mean, that's what it feels like. The reality of it is there are still so many people throughout this world that have no clue about Bitcoin. And even of those that do, there are so many that still refuse to touch it, either because they don't want to or because really it's still not something that they can, depending on what kind of company they may be or whatever, because you've got fiduciary duties and all this other fun stuff. And even those who just really kind of just don't believe in it, right? But now all of a sudden, now you start getting real financial products built on it. The ETFs that was the gate opener. And then you get options on ETFs. And all of a sudden you start getting more and more of these exotic derivative products that you can put on top of Bitcoin. Bitcoin becomes this base layer. And now your TradFi guys who are used to dealing with these exotic products, these derivatives products on TradFi instruments, are now seeing that they can start, still on TradFi right now with ETFs, but it's coming to Bitcoin. It'll come to spot Bitcoin. I believe we'll see options on that, sooner rather than later. And again, it just opens up all these other derivative products I can put in there. So all of a sudden, these guys are like, well, now I don't really have to understand Bitcoin. I understand the products that I can trade in, these things that I do for a living, or these things that our company does for a living that we make a shit ton of money on. And it's just another place. And you're seeing more and more people head this way. Again, especially since ETFs were approved at the beginning of this year. I mean, look at it. Everybody's talking about it. It seems like anyway. We're getting, some time on the CNBC and other shows.
Hey, you said everybody's talking about it. Have you seen the snippet with Alan Greenspan? He looks like he's about to go into his grave. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't. He looked like he's about to go to his grave for years, though.
Yeah, but check this out. Let's see if I can get this to. I never in my life thought I would see this. Okay, check this out. If I can play it.
Jointly writing a book about American history. Say to you is Bitcoin looks like the history of fiat money in the United States and elsewhere, going all the way back to 1789. If you look, for example, at how the Continental, which was, remember, issued in 1775 and being put into the market. In the Continental and the Greenback in the Civil War, in all cases, the amount of fiat currency kept rising. And it's very difficult to tell to what extent Bitcoin is fundamentally different from that. But I am saying that there are very considerable similarities. That what's holding the prices up is the supply is down. And look, human beings buy all sorts of things that aren't worth anything, but they do it anyway. People gamble in casinos when the odds are against them. It has never stopped anybody.
I was thinking, I've been thinking about cryptocurrencies a lot in the context of monetary policy, because the philosophical beginnings of Bitcoin were about creating a store of value because central banks around the world were profligate. But it turns out there can be hundreds of cryptocurrencies, as you point out, which suggests that the supply could be limitless, and hence Bitcoin as a particular store of value maybe is questionable.
Look, the question is that the value of Bitcoins can never be negative. And so there's only one thing it can be. It's either zero or plus. And the way human beings estimate value, you're going to get a number of people always consider it a plus. And if you happen to be Bitcoin and get into early on, you create a huge potential market.
Dude.
And that was what, 2017, right?
When was this?
This is what, 6 years ago?
No, man. Yeah. Was this 6 years ago?
That's what it says. Yeah, and their chart on there says
I thought that you're totally right. I thought this was recent. I'd never seen this. I mean,
I didn't see it either.
How could you and I not have seen this, dude?
It's so much stuff out there.
Well, but this is the truth, right? Like what he just said, because people have been comparing Bitcoin to all sorts of other things, including energy. And, you know, I've seen that gas, oil, and electricity trade at negative.
Yeah.
And people are like, hey, Bitcoin's going to zero. I'm like, it has 8 zeros. I could buy all 21 million units, dude. I will most certainly, if someone wants to sell Bitcoin for a penny, I don't think I'm the only guy that's going to put a bid there.
Right.
Once that happens, it's game over because it's going to have a price. So it's just, now it's like, oh, I bet my brother would pay 2 pennies. You're going to pay, fuck, I'll pay 3 pennies. Right. In fact, you're going to call me and Grant up and go, hey, why don't we raise the bid and let's all just do it together? And, you know, I'll right. It's going to be game theory and bang, you're off to the races.
Yeah.
This is such a there's no way you can lose on this trade, man. If your time horizon is correct and you don't panic out.
Yeah.
I know I continue to be excited about it, but if you wake up every day and you realize, hey, this is a fresh moment, and I have not seen another opportunity like this ever in my whole life. And then I see this cat, dude, I scrape news, like all our buddies scrape news. You and I have never seen this article. And I think it's extremely powerful to tell someone, hey, this product cannot possibly go to zero. And it's the most liquid asset in the world. That's staggering.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, and with you know, again, that was 2000. I mean, God, when we look at it, it was 2017. Dude. That was before, you know, that was when price was down there, you know, 3,000, you know, whatever. Because in 2017, in September of 2017, that was the pullback to the 3,000 and some change. And then it rallied up to almost 20,000 over the next few months, you know, into December. I mean, absolutely insane. That's what, that's a 4X.
He made that announcement. That was in, oh shit, can't even go back far enough. That announcement, you said 2017, right?
Yeah.
Price of Bitcoin was $1,000.
Yeah, at the beginning. That was when I first bought. That was when I first bought. I think I paid like 11 or 12. And I bought in January of 2017. So
let's just think about this. That's a $2 billion. Yes, that would be a $20 billion market cap at the time, and it went to 13,000. Sometime in that year, between 1,000 and 13,000 well, that was in December. So it was around $7,000, man. Greenspan said that. If anything, what do you think he would be saying today? Because we have a lot more data.
I mean, I think he would probably be even more so, you know, what he was saying there. Because, I mean, I got to admit, he was looking pretty old in 2017. But
that's why I thought it was a recent one, man, because I'm like, wow, that looks like he's getting ready to drop.
But he wasn't even about, you know, he wasn't doing the Warren Buffett thing. You know, he wasn't like, oh, it's rat poison and all other nonsense. He was like, listen, let's be realistic about it. And I think that was showing his actual background, you know, in economics and whatnot. I wouldn't say necessarily that he did the greatest job as you know, head of the Fed, but
well, whatever, right?
He does have that huge, you know, he has that huge background, and he was using it. He wasn't just like, hey, listen, I'm old and this is nonsense, it's stupid, you know.
Bro, that guy saw us through 3 major events. So you can say he was a dick, but it's easy to do from the sidelines. And you can't.
Oh yeah, that's why we do it, right?
Yeah,
because it's easy to do from the sidelines.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he, you know, would likely be even more so, especially now with the ETFs and now the options on the ETFs. And I think he would be even more strongly opinionated than he was even in 2017 there. Yeah.
What have you heard about this space, about the whole industry? Anything that could impact this trade in your mind that you may or may not have control over? I mean, you have very little control over many things, but you can always pull your money off the table.
Yeah.
Anything concerns you?
Not really. I mean, even if Kamala was to get elected, I think worst case scenario, it's a bump in the road for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever with crypto and Bitcoin. I don't think it derails it. I don't think it's anything that significantly is an impetus to its growth. I think whether Trump or her get in, I think it just keeps doing its thing. You know, you've got BlackRock there. You know, let's face it, Kamala, Trump, they won't be running the world. You know, it's people like Fink that run the world. And not that they're always going to get everything what they want exactly as they want it, but I'll be damned if you know, governments around the world aren't listening. And so, you know, again, I don't think anything that, I know a lot of people are kind of worried about it. Again, I think it just becomes a bump in the road, if anything, if Kamala's in there. I think it's less of a bump in the road if Trump's in there. But anything else, I really don't see. We've got great inflows coming to the ETFs right now. You know, they're rivaling, you know, the beginning when they were launched back in January, as we're coming into, you know, historically bullish time of the cycle and the year and everything. We've got 6.7 trillion sitting in money market funds right now, largest ever. And after the election, I can't hear you.
What's that number again?
I think it's like right around 6.5, 6.7 trillion, something like that. It's huge.
Wow.
And you know, and it's all in there because concern, right? You know, I mean, people have been worried for the last.
Let me correct me. Can the bank use money sitting in the money markets and fractionate it?
What's
that out?
Honestly, I haven't even thought about that. I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. I hadn't actually thought about that.
I don't think so either. Well, that money's not going to stay there because it's not making any money, dude.
Exactly.
Money markets are paying what? I'm getting 5% on treasury notes, but you don't get that in a money market, do you?
Nah, I think you get a little bit less than that. Right now, I don't know what the exact number is at the moment.
And it's not protected. See, my money sits in an investment account. It doesn't sit in an FDIC account. People like FDIC, I would actually go study what the FDIC does for you, because you're going to be really disappointed when the bank fucking collapses and you think your $250,000 you can go grab. Good luck. You'll take 4 years getting all that money back.
Yeah.
Like these FDIC things, no one understands these instruments. Like, you're not going to get your $250,000 tomorrow morning, guys. It's going to get paid out over a period of time. It is guaranteed. But I mean,
go ahead.
No.
I was going to say, but that's what we do, right? As human beings, we continue to offload our responsibility onto the government because the government promises us that they're going to protect us, that they're going to do all these great things that they're going to do. And we're just like, okay, yeah, sure, go ahead and do it so I don't have to think about it. And then people are surprised why so many people are still not in Bitcoin. I mean, let's face it, nobody wants to be their own bank. Nobody wants to take the chance that I got to remember this, you know, huge, real crazy kind of address to send it to and hope it goes there, because if it doesn't, I don't get my money back, you know. And so that's been my thing for the last few years has been, listen, we're going to see really mainstream adoption go when it becomes easy. How does it become easy? Well, you got to make the wallet transfers easy, not so complicated like they are, not so definitive, right? And or you do it through other products like ETFs. ETFs are easy. Everybody understands ETFs, right? You can buy, you can sell just like that. It's all done. It's not, you don't have to have a wallet address memorized and get right and whatever, and you're still getting exposure to, you know, what's going on with Bitcoin. And so, you know, that's kind of where we get to it. But, you know, government does it. What happened in you know, when we had 2000 and 9/11, right? Government comes out, Bush at the time comes out, Patriot Act, let's go. Man, I warned against that at the time. It was just a huge power grab by the government. And that's exactly what it's become. And it's been bastardized since then. It's been more and more and more because people are like, oh, okay, yeah, we just here, take whatever you want, usurp all the power that you want, go ahead and do it. And now we're kind of paying for that with a lot of the nonsense regulations and crap that's been passed over the last 20 years, I guess now, on the basis of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. Most humans want to outsource their responsibility and have done so. And it doesn't make it wrong either, okay? Like I understand. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's a little bit to the point that people are cutting up Sailor on. This industry is a really weird industry. I mean, I was just like, okay, it's a matter of time before they start banging on Michael. I did not hear him say anything that was wrong. It's nothing I haven't said for 2 years. No one is walking around with $150 million or $1 billion with their seed phrases in their brain, guys. I'm sorry, unless you might be a freak. Maybe Jack Dorsey does it. And I say freaking like, hey, I want to live off the grid. I don't want to live off the grid. I like AC. I like fence. I like cars that go 70 with highways that can handle it and nice airports. And I didn't work this hard to get wealthy to live like a pauper.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to do that, cool. So, but did you hear him say anything that was like such a anti-Bitcoin thing? Because I was like, sounds pretty natural to me, dude. Sovereigns are not going to keep $12 trillion on a seed account with one prince.
Yeah, no. You know, I knew though, when I heard it, I knew there was going to be backlash though. You know, because everybody kind of comes in with this idea that, oh, you know, Bitcoin's going to replace the financial system and do all this, rather than understanding the strongest likelihood is that it's going to become part of the financial system. You know, and this is something we were discussing actually the last couple of episodes of Beards and Bitcoin with my friends there, Andrew and Tillman from Arch Public. You know, we were talking about this and the fact that, listen, you know, it's fine. We know nobody's here to judge anybody. You know, if you want to self-custody, I still self-custody, you know, and do these things in a way that you want to, you know, that's fine. But the reality of it is most likely the system is going to kind of go the way every other thing has done. It's been invited. Bitcoin has been invited, as Tillman put it, into the club now. It's part of this, you know, it's the system. The players are like, listen, we want you in the club. And so that's going to lead to some things that are going to be different than what we initially thought with the Bitcoin white paper. And so you can kind of fight against it, and likely you're going to lose, and you're not going to position yourself best to benefit yourself and your family in the future. Or you can say, okay, listen, I understand what's going on here, what's most likely to happen. How do I take advantage of this to benefit my family? And I think that's what it should be at. I think people kind of get into Bitcoin for this idea of Bitcoin. I'm into Bitcoin for how does it advantage my family? How can I create a better future for my family, my current, you know, family, future grandkids, whatever? How can I use this to do that? I see it as a tool, just like I see, you know, fiat money as a tool, right? And people are like, oh, I want to go out there and make money. No, you don't want to make money just for money's sake. You're not Scrooge McDuck diving into your coins and swimming around in it, right? Just for the sake of having it. We make money because it allows us freedom of time. It allows us freedom of travel. It allows us to say, fuck you, if you get the right amount of it, right? We don't have to be beholden to that which we don't want to be beholden to.
Right.
about freedom. And I think people get caught up, unfortunately, in Bitcoin for Bitcoin's sake versus Bitcoin for their own sake. And how do we position ourselves for that as we go forward?
Yeah, I totally agree. Just noticing here, this gentleman's point, self-custody prevents rehype. Most certainly you're correct.
Yeah.
Rehypothecation has already happened, though, guys. It's happening to Bitcoin. It is going to happen to Bitcoin even more so. Once Wall Street came here, we're going to have derivatives on derivatives. So I don't know what to tell you. It is the way the world works. And the more of these tools that are available, the more you will have adoption. It's just the way adoption works in this kind of world. So,
yeah.
Chris, any final points? I'm going to close up and pop over and listen to Simon here for a little bit.
The
weekend, what should we expect? Or maybe you want to go over some of the altcoins before we close, because there's been a lot of activity on miners and alts.
Let me see. Well, again, basically Bitcoin, I told you what we saw on Bitcoin there. Let me see if I can find an alt short here real quick. Which one should we be looking at? I think Sol continues to look pretty good right here.
Yeah, give me a little Sol love, man. I like Sol.
Pull it up. We'll see if it pulls up here.
While you're pulling that up, do you expect like a Sol to outperform Bitcoin again once this cycle starts, or do you think that we're going to have slightly different?
I think in general, we should expect that alts in general are going to outperform Bitcoin overall. Just because, again, they're riskier plays. And so, more risk. You shouldn't be getting, listen, guys, if you're trading or investing or whatever, and you're taking on risk, don't take on risk for the sake of taking on risk. The more risk you take on, the more you should demand in potential returns. Okay.
Absolutely.
Some people take on just crazy risk for like just almost no return, and it makes no sense. But I mean, look at this. We rallied right up into this descending kind of wedge resistance. Again, I still think we're heading up toward 410 at least, potentially much higher than that.
410 off the 170.
Yeah. It's been the target I've had here since, I guess, let's see right here, since about January of this year, since we had the retest of this weekly pivot here. So I don't see a reason.
You've been in SOL a long time, haven't you?
Yeah. Again, I talked about it back here to buy it back here when it was around $9 on the Wendy O show. And so, I've been with it since then. So it's been a great trade. It's been a great trade. But, again, when I said this, I got so much hell about it because this is what had happened, right? Everybody expected it was dead. Everybody gave every reason in the world. FTX crashed, and VCs and all these other reasons why it had to, which is why I tend not to pay attention to news and fundamentals and whatever. I just look at what's going on with the charts. And, again, to me, based on the chart here and what was going on and the pullback and all this stuff, that seemed like the right point to go long. And, it's hard to argue. I mean, again, we hit 3 times. We hit 3x there, or I'm sorry, 30x there at the high so far. So it's been an absolute great trade. I don't think you're going to go wrong with too many alts. There's just in general, if Bitcoin's going up, rising tide lifts all ships, alts should kind of continue up higher. I think
do you watch many of the miners?
Oh yeah, I watch. We do that newsletter every week. So I've got 18 or 19 of them that we keep on watch there. Wolf looking good. Let me see. Let me pull up here real quick.
Wolf is looking good. That is a fact, man.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I updated him here. Let me see. Who do we got up today? Look at that. DGHI is up 10.63% today. This is a nice little bump here. Hits this liquidity down here at the S1 pivot going up. Man, I think this thing looks great for some further upside. We just broke out of this. This is DigiHost here. We're kind of breaking out about that volume, large candle spread. Man, confirmation will be a breakout and close above this 172 area, 175 area. So DigiHost looking good there. Let me see here. Where's Wolf again? There's Wolf. Wolf's up 5% again today. Look at Wolf. Look at that volume coming up here on this as it starts to break out above this swing high right here. So, you know, we had consolidation right here at the pivot. Big shoot out of consolidation, pull back. Here we go, rallying back up again. This is the weekly, of course. And so we've got a lot of room to run still on stochastic RSI. We're bullish. Let me see. Are we here yet? Well, we're just about to get bullish above neutral here on the stochastic RSI. RSI is bullish above neutral here on, and also above the SMA. So, I mean, you know, we should see this thing continuing to rally up higher. Wouldn't be surprised to see it rally up here toward $11, $11.30 or so. Getting that R5 pivot here. As a matter of fact, if we were just to look at this pullback right here, based on that height, yeah. Yeah, this is Wolf. Yeah, this thing gets you up there around $11 just based on the height of this pullback right here. So still like that as well. I like a lot of them. I mean, overall, I mean, look at cores. This was such a great move right here. And then we kind of did some sideways here, and here we go up again. You know, we've got further upside on that. Again, if we're looking at just on this right here, that's already almost an $18 target up there just based on the pullback here. So core is still looking good as well. What else do we have here? Let's see, it's Wolf. GRDI is up. This one's been crazy, man. I've been watching this one just kind of, after we did this initial pop here, we dropped back, and then we finally got this breakout this past week, last week, through this resistance. So finally, but man, you know, it's got a long way to go just to kind of recover up here. So I'm not a big fan of it at the moment. This is GRDI. But iron, I know a lot of people talking about iron. Again, weekly here.
I like iron. I have iron. I think their cost base is really nice. Yeah. I think they're in the mid 30s, low 30s.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great, right? So we rallied up into this previous kind of resistance right here. And so pulled back, found support at technical support here. There's this pivot on the weekly here, rallying back up again. Support's still holding. I mean, we're getting a little volume locally here, but we still have room here on the weekly, stochastic RSI and RSI, both bullish above neutral for it to continue going up. We've got earnings coming out on November 27th. So, you know, that'll be the next, kind of real news event.
Yeah.
Going on there. But again, if we're just looking at this pullback here, that gives us about almost a $28.50 target, basically right up there at that all-time high, just based on the height of this pullback here. Doesn't mean this happens. Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't mean it happens overnight. But, you know, again, this is the weekly chart. We kind of just a generic pattern target based off a pullback. And so if we can continue to get this little push up here more, we should. I have no reason to believe we won't see that.
So I mean, I think I'm into iron at 618 or something like that. And that was bought maybe 5 months ago.
Okay.
No, they've been decent returns. I don't know how long I'm going to stay in them. I mean, I think that's the question. When do you flip over? And hopefully,
well, I think right now is not the right time. I think we're just now starting to see them start to rally. A lot of people have, you know, over the last few weeks have just had it. Saw a lot of talk of, oh man, I'm going to sell my miners and get into MicroStrategy. When MicroStrategy's made this new high and is been pushing, and they're just now making the low, right? And it's absolutely crazy to do that. You know, so I think, you know, I'm not a big fan of selling miners right now in general.
I agree.
I would be more in the line of buying them at the moment if I had to make my choice between the two. I think if you bought near a recent high and you're holding it a low here, I think it's purely emotional why you would sell right now. And most likely you're going to make the mistake of selling at the low and buying in something else at the high, because that's what we tend to do as human beings.
That's right. Yeah, most certainly. It's a common mistake.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, thank you very much, buddy. Hope you have a lovely weekend. I'm going to close this session. Really appreciate you showing up, helping me out. Anytime you need help, you know, I'm always there for you.
Appreciate you, man.
And that's the way the world works. I mean, I popped up with Chris before because he needed some help, and then
Yeah.
you know, I lose somebody today, and he just pops up. So really appreciate you. You guys follow this cat. He's awesome. He's got a school that does the training. He's got programs, and I found him to be a very honest human being. So that is key to me, making sure that I have somebody that's straight up and doesn't talk well over his skis. Chris, thank you. Have a great weekend, buddy.
Appreciate it, Gary. You too.
Go vote, man. Got to go vote. Okay, I've already done my job. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed Chris's presentation. I really love having these perspectives that are different, right? Like, I'm not a short-term guy. I'm not a chartist. You saw the way I even maneuvered through a chart. I look like a complete retard. Chris comes on here and makes it look like art for him. He's been doing it forever. Doesn't make him right. Doesn't mean he's going to be right 100% of the time. But for me, the way I use information like this is I plug into the data, and one, I'm always looking for consistencies, and I will continue, even though Chris is my friend, I will constantly look for inconsistencies in the message. And then I take that and I slap it on top of maybe somebody that's a long-term player, someone that has maybe the power charts. Like, I love those power charts. I hope there's 30 power models out there. I don't think any of them are right. But they give me kind of a guidepost to where we're going. In this particular game, especially if you don't have an edge, and most people do not have an edge in markets, if you can ride a trend like this and not worry about picking bottoms and tops, I just find, one, I have never met anyone that can pick the bottoms and tops. Never. Literally, I know that people claim they can. And every trading story I get to hear about, the first thing I hear is someone buying the bottoms and selling the tops. And you're already thinking of people that you hear on these spaces that constantly remind you how brilliant they are. And then you see them go to a convention, they stay in a Motel 6. But other than that, it's all good. So look for inconsistencies. It's very important. And by the way, the Motel 6 is an inconsistency. Sorry. Let's see. What else do we have to talk about? I'm going to do a space tomorrow on a philosophical question. Have you ever had an original thought? I heard this the other night, and it really freaked me out because it made me question. Well, we were talking about robotics and AI and general intelligence. And when somebody said, hey, there is no such thing as an original thought, I wanted to challenge it. And the way for me to challenge it is, Gary, come up with one example of an original thought you had. And I began really struggling. That was a week ago. So we're going to hold a space, I think, Saturday afternoon, about 11 a.m. with some really cool people talking about artificial intelligence, IQ, EQ will possibly come up, although I'm not a big believer in EQ, but IQ, EQ, characteristics of humans. And then we're going to talk about, what does this original thought mean? Because I think that the difference between humans and everything else, I have the ability to imagine. And if I have the ability to imagine, I think it's a superpower, vision. I can then manifest the future. And that's really, to me, a big, big difference in humans and other organisms, at least to the knowledge I'm aware of. But if I can imagine and I can create visions, I then need to be able to connect to you. You have a right to this knowledge. If this is true, I get really excited about AI because I think that if our unique ability as a human is to imagine things, that if we're not busy doing a bunch of activities that are subpar human capabilities, perhaps we'll imagine more. We'll have greater visions. And if we have greater visions that are not occluding or occluded by a bunch of noise and doing spreadsheets and signing bills and writing letters and mowing the grass, possibly we can build a better universe. Question is, do we have original thought or not? I really want to believe that I do, but I'm not sure that that is true, despite what I may have wanted to believe. Love you to show up to the show. It'll probably happen on Spaces. Probably will not be on video because they tend to be 2 or 3 hours long. And love to have you. Any scientists or doctors or neurosci experts, please show up. I love experts. I love to learn. So other than that, I think we've got a bullish market. I am so happy to be in this trade with you. If you're not in Bitcoin, go buy $100 for the Bitcoin. If you are in Bitcoin, could you please send Dennis Porter $100 to help him out for the lobby efforts? And if you don't like doing any of that, go be nice to somebody today and don't take any credit for it. I'm going to say goodbye. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Make sure you do something nice and be additive to the world. Don't be a taker. Ciao, guys. Enjoy it.